You're now listening to All Hog Sports, covering all Arkansas Razorback sports, such as football, basketball, baseball, and much more. Now, here's your host for today's show, Sam Stimson.
So today we're going to be talking about some Arkansas basketball. Now, since I last did a podcast, Arkansas has lost 2 more games, moving themselves to 5 out of these 6 games, resulting in a loss. 3 straight conference losses. That is their worst start in SEC play at 0-3 since the 2008 to 2009 season under John Pelfrey. The schedule in the next few games is a little easier, and I'll get to that, but nothing really seems to be easy for Arkansas. At Mississippi State was always going to be a tough game, but Vanderbilt at home and Arkansas lost 75-74. At Texas A&M was still going to be a tough one, but Arkansas lost that one by 5, and the score could have honestly been worse if Arkansas didn't claw back in it at the end. So I'm going to talk about those 2 games and then get to preview their next game tomorrow, Wednesday, against Missouri. But, yeah. So, against Vanderbilt at home at 75-74, this was Eric Musselman's first loss at home when he had a halftime lead. Arkansas got out-rebounded by 7, but they forced a good amount of turnovers for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt had 17 turnovers. Scottie Pippen Jr. with 7 of those. He was fantastic for Vanderbilt. He did a fantastic job of getting to the free throw line. He had 22 points, and 9 of those came on the free throw line. Scottie Pippen Jr. has always been really good at, forcing contact and getting to the line. Along with their Pippen Jr., Jordan Wright, he had 12 points for Vanderbilt. He was 6 for 6 from the free throw line. I felt like Arkansas just really didn't even bother to play defense at times. One guy, Trey Thomas, he averages 6.1 points per game, and he put up 15 on Arkansas and was 5 for 7 from 3. And if you look at his shooting splits for the season, he shoots 32.5% from the field as a whole. So, again, Arkansas just let a lot of guys open. 3-point defense continues to be a struggle. 3-point defense ranks 306 in the nation. Arkansas only let up 75 points. Sure, they could have won that one. But, 5 points at halftime lead, and then you go out there and lose the second half. In this game, though, J.D. Notae, he was back. He had 37 minutes, was 6 out of 17. Obviously, volume shooter, 16 points. And Stanley Mude and Adise Tony really kept us in this one. Tony had 20 points in 36 minutes, 7 out of 9 from the free throw line, and 6 out of 7 from the floor. Mude had 33 minutes and 28 points. He was 11 out of 20 from the floor and 3 out of 7 from 3. For Stanley to really step up was huge for Arkansas. He's really turned it on the last few games in SEC play. He's obviously a huge volume scorer last season at North Dakota State, but in SEC play, he's put up 19, 28, and 10. He had a really good start to the A&M game, but kind of cooled off there at the end. If Stanley can get going, though, Arkansas will have a lot of success. 3 double-digit games so far in SEC play is nice to see. Devo Davis only logged 9 minutes. He had 0 points, no shots attempted. Jackson Robinson had 31 minutes, 3 points, and then Williams in the starting lineup had 31 and 6. He had 10 rebounds, though. He's been pretty good on the boards this season. Kamani Johnson only had 8 minutes in this one, 0 points. He's back from his suspension. But looking at their next game against Texas A&M, that was more recent, things kind of got off really good for Arkansas. It was about as good of a start as you've really seen from an Arkansas team who's struggled to play their best basketball early in past seasons, but it seems to be the opposite. At one point, Arkansas was sitting very comfortably with a 20-9 point lead after JD made a 3, and I think it got even worse than that at certain times. Arkansas, though, getting a lot of scoring early from Amude helped with that one too. JD had an incredible game, 38 minutes, 31 points. He was 11 out of 23. 5 out of 8 from 3. JD has a lot of good games. He's obviously a volume shooter for Arkansas, but when he's on, he really puts the team in positions to win games. 5-point, away loss sure hurts. But one guy I really, really like to see was Kamani Johnson. In his 19 minutes, he had 8 rebounds and 7 points. coming off the bench when Arkansas, was down 15, and really just looked honestly completely clueless. Kamani was being able to be a spark for the team. Devo had 37 minutes and 13 points off the bench. And I've seen this take everywhere, and I put it on my Twitter. It's absolutely ridiculous that people think Devo Davis is not playing that good because of he's getting money off his name, image, and likeness. A player does not play bad because he's making money off his worth. And Devo earned that too. His name, image, and likeness, he earned that. When he made that buzzer beater to carry Arkansas into the Elite Eight, he earned that. He worked for it. That's not the reason Devo's playing bad. It's probably because he stepped into a different role this season. He's playing a different position. They're trying to run him more at point guard than, the shooting guard off-ball role he served last year. Teams are keying on him. That's what happened to Moses last year in the NCAA tournament, and, similar bad takes came out of that. Teams, when there's not as many guys who are, scoring, like for Arkansas, Smith was putting up huge games, but Moses wasn't because they were keying on Moses. And this same thing's for Arkansas this year. JD, Stanley, Tony have put up good games, but Devo really hasn't had a huge breakout game because teams are keying in him. He was one of the top players in the SEC early this season, and he's going to break through. Just because he isn't scoring the amount of points per game in normal. Sure, 13 even isn't bad, but it was 15, 0, 13, so sometimes he gets on a slump, but he's always been able to kick out of it. I'm not really too worried. I think Devo's still a fantastic player. He has great parts of the game that have been able to service this Arkansas team. 7 assists does not go unnoticed there. I know the turnover number was a little high at 4, and then his field goal splits were 2 for 10, but he was able to get to the line. I think, though, Arkansas just has to be able to play good basketball and play with each other for 40 minutes. Because the main thing I'm getting to here is Arkansas's had really good times, and honestly, they look like the team that I guess, got off this preseason hype, and then other times, I don't know if we would even be, better than like 11 teams in the SEC. Right now, we're sitting at 0-3, one of 3 winless teams in SEC play. It's really tough, though, because Arkansas has had rotations that have worked, and it just seems like we're just going all over the place. JD, Jackson, Tony, Stanley, Jalen, throw in Devo in there, too. And we're just looking for anybody who can make a difference. Kamani, Trey Wade, and we have a lot of talent, though. I think to say this roster is untalented is just a total lie. A lot of these guys appeared on preseason top 100 lists for the best players in the nation for a reason, got all SEC honors and stuff like that. This team has loads of talent. They just got to figure out how to play for each other, and I don't think anybody's really selfish here. I just think they struggle to, mesh as a team, and I really think the point guard thing is huge as well. Chris Likes has been playing a lot of the point guard, JD too, Kalen and Devo splitting the lower amount of reps here. I think a team really misses that true type point guard who can take like a lot of defensive liability, run an offense, play 35 minutes plus consistently at point guard, and they just haven't had that. Jalen Tate, Jimmy Witt. I do expect Musselman to probably go after a little bit taller of a point guard. Chris Likes at 5'7" has been problematic on defense sometimes, went on switching and stuff, and teams have figured it out. I don't really think it's too late to, get things back on track for Arkansas because it has a lot of talent. Jackson Robinson, Tony, Amude, and Williams, and JD. That's probably going to be somewhat of the starting rotation next week. This team has a ton of talent, though. If we can just figure out a point guard, it starts there. Just get together working for each other because of, how good the preseason high was, which kind of shows that talent. That's why I don't think this season, is a wash yet, but there's a must-win game on the table. And that game is against the Missouri Tigers. Now, the Tigers just defeated a ranked Alabama team at home in an upset victory. I was not expecting that one, though. Big player from that game that Arkansas is going to have to guard is Kobe Brown. Kobe Brown dropped 30 points and 13 rebounds on Mizzou. He's 6'8", 255. I'd look for guys like Jalen Williams to guard him at times, DC Tony additionally, and Stanley Amude as well. Kobe Brown averaging 15.3 points per game and 8.8 rebounds additionally. I think the main thing here, though, Arkansas has to do is limit his ability off the floor. I mean, shooting 69.2% against Bama in that upset was key to Missouri getting that win. Additionally, Arkansas has to play better perimeter ball. Mizzou also is not good on the perimeter on defense. They have the 305th ranked effective field goal defense, and they average 320th in the nation on field goal percentage. You know, Arkansas has been struggling in the defensive category more than anything, but the three-point line is absolutely horrendous for Missouri. If you looked at three-point shooting, you'd see Arkansas at 292, and if you kept on scrolling down, you would see Missouri at 352 out of 358 Division I teams. Missouri shoots 25% from three. So that is nice for Arkansas as they allow other teams to shoot 36.6%, which is 3 above the D1 average. I do like that matchup, though, for Arkansas on the perimeter. Additionally, Arkansas just has to play good defense as a whole. They've let teams shoot 51.9% from the floor this year. They've still crashed the board at a really good rate of 21.5% offensive rebounding rate, which has kept them in a ton of games. Kamani Johnson has been a force on the offensive rebounding side. If you look at effective field goal percentage, though, for Arkansas, they're shooting above the D1 average at 125%, so that's good. The main thing for Arkansas, though, is if they get hot from three, they can really get the offense rolling. And then tempo has also been really bad, top 10 in the nation in terms of like bad tempo, just because it's been very stagnant at half court this season for Arkansas. I mean, sometimes we honestly play better in transition than we do in a half court offense that is set up. Now, it looks like the line for this game is going to open around like Arkansas minus 9, 10, 11, 12. My prediction for this game, though, is I think Arkansas wins 83-75. I think Arkansas is able to, crash the boards on offense, and also having Missouri being a poor three-point shooting team is really huge for Arkansas. Missouri also 320th in D1. But the main thing for Arkansas, regardless of all these statistics, as Missouri as a team, they've got to be able to stop Kobe Brown and play good defense on, the other guys on this team. Jordan Pickett, additionally, I think you'll see Pickett line up across from some point guards like Devo Davis, at times JD when he's in the game as well. If they can really help each other out on defense and get the offense rolling, I think the Hogs run away with a win here. But this is about as much must-win as you can get. I mean, you're playing statistically one of the worst teams in the conference. I know they just beat Bama and such, but Missouri's one of the worst teams in the conference in terms of analytics and such. This is a must-win game, though. Arkansas has to win this one. They can't go down 0-4 and lose 4 of the last 7 and expect to make the playoff. Now I'll be back with a recap of this one and a preview of the next game on Friday. I'll see you then, but for now, as always, Whoop Pig Suey.
That's all for today's episode of All Hog Sports with Sam Stimson. Make sure to stay tuned for the next episode covering all Arkansas Razorback sports. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on social media too. On Twitter and Instagram at All Hog Sports Pod. Like on Facebook at All Hog Sports and Arkansas Razorbacks Podcast. And on YouTube at that same name. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Go Hogs!